I'm Ken Clarkson Alvarado.
I'm Micah Faye GRCS.
I'm Cindy Rose L. Ignacio.
And I'm Alec Micaela Itario.
And we are the Study Hub 7.
Good day, coach and classmate. I'm Eliza Meneses from Study Hub number 7. Today, my co-member and I will be discussing learner-centered teaching. So what is learner-centered teaching? Learner-centered teaching represents a paradigm shift from traditional teaching methods by focusing on how students learn instead of how teachers teach. Thus, the model's conceptual underpinning is rooted in learning, challenging us to ask the rarely heard question, how can I improve my student learning? Instead of the often ask, how can I improve my teaching? Learner centered teaching puts the students at the center of learning. It's about understanding how each student learns best and adapting teaching methods to meet their individual needs. Learning approach which is broadly related to and supported by constructivist theories of learning. It is characterized by innovative methods of teaching which aim to promote learning and communication with teachers and other learners and which take students seriously as active participants in their own learning, fostering transferable skills such as problem solving, critical thinking, and reflective thinking. This learning approach is about students actively participating in their own learning, working together with teachers and classmates to build knowledge and develop essential skills like problem solving and critical thinking. So now, let's move on to characteristics of learner-centered teaching. Number 1, teaching and learning is personalized. A. It is give interest, aspiration to individual students. B. Teachers have the option of structuring the learning environment that suits them and their students. C. Teacher make the optimal use of the facilities available to them. Teachers make learner fit each student. They consider what interests each student and what they want to achieve. Teachers also create learning spaces that work best for both them and their students, using the resources they have. Number 2, they have learned the knowledge and skills. Students learn the knowledge and skills they need to succeed. Number 3, students have the flexibility to learn. Students can learn in different ways and at their own pace. Number 4, and learners learn anytime and anywhere. A. Students give opportunities to learn their own way. Students can learn whenever and wherever they want. They have choices about how they learn. Number 5. Students need to have a clear idea. Students know exactly what they are trying to achieve in their learning. Number 6. Instruction must be easy to understand and comprehensive. A. When students evaluate their own work, it will help them mastery over the subjects. B. Students working in group, they involve more in activities because there are opportunities for discussion and assisting peer students. Instruction are clear and easy to follow. Students are encouraged to assess their own learning, which helps them master the material. Working in groups gives students a chance to talk about their ideas and help each other learn. Number 7. Students can work on various activities to their own needs and interests. Students can choose activities that fit their needs and interests. Last but not the least, number 8. Learning-centered adaptable instructional tool. Learning is flexible and teachers use different tools and methods to help students learn.
Good day, everyone. My name is Ken Clarkson Alvarado from Study Hub number 7, and I am here today to discuss to you the paradigm shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered teaching philosophical perspective. So, what is our objective? So, our learning objectives is to understand what is philosophical perspective, to know what is essentialism and perennialism, to learn what is teacher-centered. And here is the topic outline for our discussion. Philosophical perspectives. Number one is the teacher-centered philosophy, and these are the following: essentialism and the perennialism. But before I'll discuss my topic, I will give a short recap about the first topic of my co-member, Ms. Eliza Meneses. So, learner-centered teaching prioritizes student learning over teaching methods. Rooted in constructivist theory, it uses innovative techniques to promote learning through communication and active student participation, fostering transferable skills like problem solving and critical thinking. Key features includes personalized learning experience that cater to individual students' interests and goals, flexibility in learning methods and pace, clear learning objectives, easy to understand instructions, self-assessment opportunities, and collaborative group work. The overall aim is to equip students with the knowledge and skills needed to succeed, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. What is philosophical perspective? Philosophical perspective are worldviews that define the nature of the world, the individual's place in it, and the possible relationships to that world and its part. Learning and instructional theories are developed with respect to a particular set of assumptions regarding what it means to know and learn. So, what is teacher centered philosophy? Teacher centered philosophies are educational approaches that prioritize the role of the teacher as the primary source of knowledge and authority in the classroom. In these models, the teacher is responsible for delivering information, guiding students' learning, and evaluating progress. The emphasis of this is on transmitting knowledge and skills from one generation to the next, often through lectures, memorizations, and assessment. Two prominent examples of teacher-centered philosophy are the essentialism and the perennialism. Later on, I will going to discuss to you the what is essentialism and the perennialism. But let's start for the essentialism, or the key factor is the essentialism is only focuses on teaching core subject like math, science, and history, while perennialism emphasizes the importance of timeless works of literature and philosophy. The first philosophical perspective is for the teacher-centered is the essentialism, is the educational philosophy of teaching basic skills. This philosophy advocates training the mind. Essentialist educators focus on transmitting a series of progressively difficult topics and promotion of students to the next level or grade. Subjects are focused on the historical context of material world and culture and move sequentially to give a solid understanding of the present day. So what is the essentialism? Essentialism in education emphasizes the importance of teaching fundamental skills and knowledge, believing that a strong foundation in core subject is crucial for student intellectual development. This philosophy advocates for a structured curriculum that progresses in difficulty, with students advancing to the next level based on their mastery of the previous materials. Essentialist educators prioritize the transmission of knowledge and skill through a systematic approach, focusing on the historical context of subject and the relevance to the present day. By emphasizing a rigorous curriculum and sequential learning, essentialism aims to cultivate students' intellectual abilities and prepare them for a successful future. And the second one in the philosophy of the teacher-centered is the perennialism. Perennialism is the educational philosophy that the importance of certain works transcend time. Perennial work are those considered as important and applicable today as they were when they were written.
and are often referred to as a great books. Common example includes Melville's Moby Dick, Shakespeare's Macbeth, Dickens' Great Expectations, and Dante's Inferno. So, what is perennialism in education? So, perennialism in education emphasizes the enduring value of timeless work known as great books, which are considered as relevant and impactful today as they were when they were written. These works, such as Marvel books and Shakespeare's Macbeth and Dante's Inferno, offer enduring insight into the human condition and timeless themes that transcend time and culture. So, perennialist educators believe that studying this classic provides students with a deep understanding of human nature, history, and complexities of the world. They advocate for a curriculum centered on this enduring word, believing that they offer a rich and valuable foundation for intellectual development and personal growth. By engaging with these timeless texts, students are exposed to enduring ideas and perspectives that can shape their understanding of the world and their place within it.
Good day everyone, especially to Coach Jude. My name is Micah Feiji Arcillas from Study Hub 7 and I will discuss to you about the learner-centered philosophy. So there are three types of learner-centered philosophy. First, we have the constructivism. So second, we have the humanism. And lastly, we have the constructivism. Progressivism are the proponents of this philosophy are William and Kilpatrick and John Dewey. So, when we say progressivism, this emphasizes the concept of progress, which assert that human beings are capable of improving and perfecting their environment. So, progressivism also, we believe that people learn best from what they consider most relevant to their lives. So, for example, students learn best when they pursue their own interests, satisfying their needs. So, in other words, progressivism is also learning by doing. So, curriculum is built on the needs, experiences, abilities, and also interests of the students. So second, we have humanism. It's a student-centered philosophy that focuses on enhancing one's innate goodness and rejects the idea of group-oriented educations and upholds the idea of enhancing individuals' development. So, this philosophy also believes that students should be actively involved with their education on all levels. So, all students should be able to make choices about what they will be learning. So, the purpose of humanism is to create interest in all shapes of lives. So, believes learning in view as a person act to fulfill one's potential, believes in the necessity of studying a person as a whole. So, particularly as they grow and develop over a lifespan. So lastly, we have the constructivism. It refers to the idea that learners construct knowledge for themselves. So each learner, individually and socially, construct meaning as he or she learns. So it suggests that learners should be active participants in learning activities, that learning should be guided rather than presented by a teachers. So, and that interactions and discussion are ontological components of the learning process. So, when you say learning happens when students combine new and old ideas. So, however, learning occurs if students are actively engaged. So it is also a learning theory that equates learning with creating meaning from experience.
Good day, everyone. My name is Cinderos L. Ignacio from Bitolot HU 1A, Study Hub number 7. So before I will start to discuss my lesson, I will give you a short recap. So Miss Manesas discussed to you about the learner-centered teaching, foundation and characteristic. So she explained to you the definition of this and the description characteristic. In a summary for this, learner-centered teaching prioritizes student learning over teaching methods. Rooted in constructivist theory, it uses innovative techniques to promote learning through communication and active student participation, fostering transferable skills like problem solving and critical thinking. Key features include personalized learning experiences that cater to individual student interests and goals, flexibility in learning methods and pace, clear learning objectives, easy to understand instruction, and self-assessment opportunities and collaborative group work. The overall aim is to equip students with the knowledge and skills needed to succeed, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. For Mr. Barredo's topic, he talked about the paradigm shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered teaching. Number one is a philosophical perspective teacher-centered philosophies. This includes the essentialism and perennialism. So in a summary, essentialism and perennialism are the two conflicting theories that discuss the shift from teacher-centered to student-centered learning. Essentialists believe in a curriculum that focuses on core subjects, which build foundation skills and cultural understanding, and emphasize teacher authority. Perennialists, while valuing student engagement, fear a neglect of timeless ideas and principles in student-centered models, and advocate for the study of enduring works in order to develop critical thinking and moral character. Both philosophies pursue a holistic education but vary considerable in the way they view curriculum, pedagogy, and the teacher's role. This makes optimizing student growth more complex. And for the last is Miss Arcelia's tackle about the learner-centered philosophy, and these are the progressivism, humanism, and constructivism. In summary, progressivism, championed by figures like William Kilpatrick and John Dewey, emphasized the idea that human beings can improve their environment and that learning is most effective when it is relevant to students' life. This philosophy promotes learning by doing, with curricula tailored to the needs, experiences, and interests of students. Humanism, another student-centered philosophy, focus on enhancing individuals' innate goodness and personal development. It advocates for active student involvement in their education, allowing them to make choices about their learning. Humanism views learning as a personal journey to fulfill one's potential and emphasizes studying individuals holistically throughout their and development. Both philosophies suggest that learners construct knowledge through active participation and meaningful engagement in learning activities with a strong emphasis on interaction and discussion. Learning is seen as a process of combining new and existing ideas, facilitated by guidance rather than direct instruction from teachers. So good day everyone. So today we're going to delve into the fascinating world of learner-centered teaching approach. So we're going to explore four key research studies that shed light on the effectiveness and challenges associated with this pedagogical shift. So our first study is by Tim Brackenberry in 2012. So this takes a qualitative approach. The research question is simple yet profound. what are the connections between learner-centered teaching and student-past learning experiences? So Brackenbury's methodology, this study used qualitative methods, likely interviews or observation, to understand the life experience of learners. So qualitative research is valuable because it allows us to explore the why behind student behaviors and learning outcomes, going beyond simple numbers. So the key findings of this is we can infer that the study likely revealed a strong correlation between positive past learning experiences and a greater receptiveness of learner-centered methods. Students who have previously experienced success in self-directed or collaborative learning environments are more likely to thrive in similar settings. So the implications for teaching is this highlights the importance of understanding student learning histories, building on the prior experiences, and tailoring instruction to their individual needs is crucial for successful learner-centered teaching. Next, we have Carlo Magna's 2007 work examining the role of teacher efficiency and characteristic in the effectiveness of learner-centered practices. So teacher efficacy refers to a teacher's belief in their ability to positively impact student learning. So Magnus' methodology is this research likely involved quantitative methods such as surveys or statistical analysis of student performance data to measure the impact of teacher characteristic and efficacy on learner-centered teaching outcomes. So the key findings of this is we can expect that the study demonstrated a positive correlation between high teacher efficacy specific teachers characteristic, example adaptability, patience, and the successful implementation of learner-centered practices. So the effective learner-centered teaching requires teachers who are confident in their abilities and possess the necessary skills to facilitate student-led learning. So the implication for teaching is these underscore the importance of teacher training and professional development, focus on building teaching efficacy and providing the necessary skills for successful learner-centered instruction. So the third study is by Daro Hinosolanco. In 2014, investigated the impact of learner-centered teaching on students' learning skills and strategies. So the methodology of this study likely used a mixed methods approach combining quantitative data, example test scores, surveys, with qualitative data, example interviews and observation, to gain a comprehensive understanding of the effect of learning-centered teaching. So the key findings of this is the research likely showed that learner-centered teaching positively impacts student learning skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, and collaboration. Students may also develop more effective learning strategies, leading to improved academic performance and deeper understanding of the subject matter. So the implication for teaching is this emphasizes the importance of designing learner-centered activities that actively engage students in the learning process and promote the development of essential 21st century skills. So the last study is by Pai and Malia in 2016, focuses on a strategy for increasing student motivation and achievement through student-centered learning. So the methodology of this study likely involved a quantitative approach measuring the impact of specific student-centered learning intervention on student motivation and achievement using metrics like test scores, engagement levels, and student feedback. So the key findings of this is the research likely demonstrated that implementing a well-designed student-centered learning strategy can significantly improve student motivation and consequently their academic achievement. So the implication for teaching is these highlight the importance of carefully planning and implementing student-centered activities to ensure they are effective in boosting student engagement and fostering a positive learning environment. Good day, everyone. So today's discussion centers on a critical aspect of educational reform, resistant to change, specifically within the context of shifting to learner-centered teaching approach. While learner-centered approach offers significant benefits, their implementation often faces resistance from both students and faculty. So let's explore the reason behind this resistance and strategies for effective management. So there are four primary reasons why students resist learner-centered approach. Number one is the increased workload. So learner-centered approaches often demand more active participant and independent work from students. This increased workload can be perceived as overwhelming, leading to resistance. The shift from passive absorption of information to active construction of knowledge requires a significant adjustment in learning habits. Number two is the threatening nature. So this approach can feel threatening because they move away from familiar, teacher-directed methods, the open-ended nature of many learner-centered activities, the lack of prescribed steps, and emphasis on self-directed learning can create anxiety and uncertainty for students accustomed to more structured environment. This is specifically true if the teacher hasn't clearly communicated expectations and provided sufficient scaffolding. Number three is the inherent losses. Claus in 1994 points out that any shift in understanding involves a sense of loss. Moving from a teacher-centric model to a learner-centered one requires students to relinquish a certain level of comfort and certainty. They may experience a loss of the familiar structure, the readily available answers, and the sense of security provided by the teacher's direct guidance. This loss can manifest as resistance. And the last is the ethical concern. Sometimes learner-centered approach may unintentionally place undue burdens on students, particularly if they are implemented without proper consideration of students' individual needs and capabilities. This can lead to feelings of unfairness or ethical concerns, fueling resistance. So resistance isn't limited to students. Faculty members also face challenges in adopting learner-centered approach. The text highlights two main sources of faculty resistance: self-confidence and power dynamics. Learner-centered approach challenges the traditional teachers as expert model. They require teachers to relinquish some controls and embrace a more collaborative role. This can be threatening to teachers' self-confidence and perceived authority. The shift from content delivery to facilitation requires new skills and a different approach to classroom management. Objective concerns. Faculty members may also resist due to practical concern. They might worry about coverage, reduced content coverage, increased workload in designing activities, or the challenges in assessing student learning in less structured environment. These are the valid concerns that need to be addressed through proper training and support. Effectively managing resistance requires a multifaceted approach. Number one is the open communication. Creating a safe space for open dialogue between teachers and students is crucial. Addressing concerns directly, actively listen to feedback, and collaboratively finding solutions can significantly reduce resistance. Number two is the professional development. Providing faculty with adequate training and support in learner-centered techniques is very essential. This includes workshops, monitoring, and access to resources that help them develop the necessary skills and confidence. Number three is the gradual implementation. Introducing learner-centered approach incrementally can make the transition less daunting for both students and teachers, starting with small-scale changes and gradually increasing the complexity of activities can help build confidence and reduce anxiety. Number three is the clear expectation and support. Establishing clear expectation, providing ample scaffolding, and offering ongoing support to students can help them navigate the challenges of learner-centered learning. Addressing number four is the addressing ethical concerns. Ensuring that learner-centered approach are implemented ethically and fairly, with due consideration for student individual needs and capabilities is vital to mitigate resistance. So successfully transitioning to learner-centered approach requires acknowledging and addressing the resistance from both students and faculty. By understanding the underlying reasons for resistance and implementing appropriate strategies, we can create a more supportive and effective learning environment for all. Open communication, through training, gradual implementation, and a focus on ethical considerations are key to fostering a successful shift towards learner-centered education. So that's all for today about my topic, and I hope you learned something about from it.
Hi everyone! Welcome back to our channel. It's me, Alec, the fifth reporter of Study Hub 7. But before we start to our next topic, let's make a quick recap about what the fourth reporter discussed. So, learner-centered teaching is supported by research showing its positive impact on student learning, motivation, and achievement. Studies highlight the importance of teacher efficacy and the positive correlation between learner-centered approaches and significant learning experiences. However, transitioning to this model often faces resistance from both students and faculty. Students may resist due to the increased workload, anxiety, and perceived loss of control. Faculty resistance can stem from self-doubt, concerns about authority, and questions about the practicality of these methods. Effective strategies for managing resistance include understanding institutional politics, utilizing classroom autonomy, focusing on gradual implementation, documenting positive impacts, and collaborating with like-minded colleagues. Ultimately, navigating this resistance leads to more engaging and effective learning environment. So today, we'll explore the key elements of learner-centered teaching, a powerful approach that shifts the focus from the instructor to the students. Instead of passively receiving information, students become active participants in their own learning journey. We'll be using the 5 dimensions outlined by Weimer of 2002 as our framework. First, let's take a look at the functions of content. It's not just about delivering facts, it's about building appreciation for the subject matter. For example, in a history class, instead of just memorizing dates, students could analyze primary sources of understanding, the perspective of different historical figures. This builds critical thinking and helps them connect the past to the present. We also want to help students develop discipline-specific learning methodologies. In a science class, this might involve learning the scientific method and conducting experiments. Finally, we want students to learn how to solve real-world problems using knowledge they gain. The instructor's role changes significantly in a learner-centered approach. We become facilitators, creating a supportive learning environment and using diverse teaching methods. This means accommodating different learning styles. Some students learn best visually, others through hands-on activities. We also need to use multiple teaching techniques like lectures, discussion, and group projects to keep students engaged. And importantly, we must motivate students intrinsically, making the learning process relevant and rewarding. So a crucial shift is placing the responsibility for learning on the students. This means moving away from the overly detailed notes and study guide that can foster passivity. Instead, we teach students how to learn time management, effective note-taking, and critical analysis. We empower them to take ownership of their education, preparing them for the lifelong learning. So the assessment becomes integrated within the learning process itself. We use formative assessments like quizzes and in-class activities to provide continuous feedback. We encourage self-assessment and peer assessment, allowing students to learn from their mistake. Authentic assessment using real-world projects helps students apply their knowledge in meaningful ways. Finally, learner-centered teaching involves a balance of power. We empower students to have a voice in their learning by giving them choices in projects, deadlines, or even assessment methods. This increased control leads to a greater engagement and a deeper understanding of the materials. So, in conclusion of all the topic we have discussed is learner-centered teaching represents a paradigm shift in education, fundamentally transforming the roles of both students and instructors. By prioritizing student engagement, this approach fosters a deeper understanding of the material, encourages critical thinking, and promotes collaboration among peers. As students take an active role in their learning journey, they not only become more invested but also develop a vital skills necessary for lifelong learning. The characteristics of learner-centered teaching highlight the importance of engaging students in the process, providing explicit skill instruction, and encouraging self-reflection. This approach empowers students to make ownership of their education, allowing them to make informed decisions about how they learn and how they assess their understanding. By giving students some control over their learning processes, we help them cultivate intrinsic motivation, leading to more meaningful and lasting educational experiences. However, transitioning from a teacher-centered to a learner-centered approach is not without challenges. Resistance to change can arise from both students and faculty, often stemming from fears of increased workload, unfamiliarity with new methods, or concerns over losing control. Recognizing these barriers is crucial. It allows us to address them thoughtfully and implement strategies that foster a supportive learning environment for all. Ultimately, the dimensions of learner-centered teaching, as outlined by Weimer, provide a robust framework for educators seeking to enhance their teaching practices by focusing on the functions of content, redefining the role of instructor, encouraging student responsibility, integrating assessment with learning, and balancing power dynamic in the classroom, we can create a vibrant learning environment that meets the diverse needs of all our students. As we move forward, let us embrace this shift and commit the continuous growth in our teaching practices. By doing so, we can empower our students to become engaged, independent learner prepared to navigate the complexities of the world beyond the classroom. So that's all. Thank you for listening.